Well, hello and welcome back to Direct-Source Discourse. I'm Rowdy Harris, Principal Customer Success Manager with Argyle's Mortgage Division. Joining us today is Kristy DeMarcus. Kristy, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Kristy DeMarcus. I am a Senior Vice President of Acopia Home Loans over operations and underwriting. I've been with Acopia for 15 years and I've been in the mortgage industry for 21.
So Kristy, I always love hearing how people got into this type of work. What's your story? How did you get started in the mortgage industry?
I think like a lot of people in the mortgage industry, I got here accidentally. I don't know that there are too many people sitting around the kindergarten table when the teacher says, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I don't recall hearing anybody say, "I want to be a mortgage professional." And by happenstance, I had a friend that did mortgages and said, "Why don't you give this a try? Why don't you try mortgage operations?" And I thought, I know nothing about mortgages. I don't, at the time, I didn't own a house. I had never had a mortgage. I had no training or background in mortgages. But I was fortunate enough to join forces with a small broker shop that took a chance on me and taught me the ropes. And from then on, I knew this is what I was supposed to do.
So as you've done these things, what's something that you're especially proud of in your professional career?
I think for me, one of the things I'm most proud of is initiative. Don't get me wrong, I've had a lot of wonderful mentors throughout my career that helped teach me the foundation of this business, and I'm so very appreciative and thankful for that. But like a lot of us, we are somewhat self-taught, and it takes some initiative to get in there and read the guidelines and ask questions and read the guidelines some more and read the guidelines some more. I'm a why person. That's how I learn, and it's also how I teach. So I need to understand why something is the way it is. And I think in order to understand that, you really have to dig deep to get a better understanding and not be afraid to ask questions. Even if we're at an impasse and we maybe don't agree, it's never a situation where I want you to see it my way. I want us to talk through the why so we can both get a better understanding of where we are. And most importantly, as we go back to the customer, we can explain it to them in a way that helps them understand what we need and why we need it.
Well said, Kristy. And obviously you've been doing this a long time, like you said, 21 years. I imagine you've seen a lot of things, ups and downs in the industry, different types of people and products come and go. If I was going to give you a magic wand, what would you change about lending?
Across the board, for me, I think one thing that would make all of our lives a little easier and simpler is if there were a little more consistency in the little things across the different loan products, across the agencies. I appreciate the differences that they have from different programs, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, USDA, VA. And we certainly want to see those differences because when we're in a situation where maybe a loan doesn't fit inside the box of one, it's good to know that there are alternatives out there that we can explore that we might be able to fit the borrower into. So I don't necessarily mean consistency from that standpoint in terms of the bigger scale guidelines, but some of the little things. We have a lot to keep up with in this business. There are, especially in underwriting, there are a lot of little details, little finite things that separate one mortgage type from the other. And if we saw a little more consistency among those little things, I think it would be a lot easier and quicker to pivot, maybe from one to the other. So that's probably what I'd change after I changed the mortgage rates.
Yeah, I love that. And obviously the industry, as you said, has faced a ton of challenges over the past few years. How does your team stay lean and efficient during slower mortgage cycles?
We have never been the company to offer large sign-on bonuses and ramp up our staffing for the next big influx in volume. That's just not who we are. It's not our culture. When we bring somebody on board, it's for the long haul. We want to add to our team and to our staff with somebody that we expect to be here in the future. And so when we're in those times of higher volumes of spikes, we've all been there, ups and downs, and this one's been a little bit of a longer down, but we've all been through those ups and downs. And when we go through those ups, rather than make large staffing increases to try and support that volume, we try to look at other ways to support that volume using our existing staff. That doesn't mean we don't hire at all. Sometimes we do, but for example, we may make the decision to incentivize our underwriters for additional production over what the normal expectations are. In 2020 and 2021, we even looked to some offshore underwriting to handle our refinance business and help keep that sustained while we focused on our purchase business. So we've looked at other alternative solutions to get us through the times of higher volume so that when we got into those slowdown periods, we could remain efficient with our existing staff rather than be in a position where we found ourselves overstaffed.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And, I imagine a big part of success is making sure that you're able to stay relevant by offering up-to-date solutions to both your internal team and to your borrowers. And I know technology plays a big part in that, both in busy times and slower times. How is your team prioritizing investments in technology this year?
And so when we look at those technology solutions, we're really trying to focus on multifaceted solutions. Not just a solution that has one benefit and one benefit only, but a solution that we can look to that's going to improve our processes both internally and improve our customers' experience. I'll use Argyle as an example. When we looked at that solution, and I know it's grown since we first came on board, but we've gained even more efficiencies than we had at the onset. But we have the benefit of rep and warrant relief possibility on the back end with our income. We have an easier experience for the customer, an easy experience for our processors and our underwriters, even by having quick access to all the information that we need without having to interrupt the customer. We have a cost savings benefit because, it's for a third-party income solution. It was a cost savings for us. So I say that to say, when we're looking at technology solutions, we're not trying to add every new thing that's out there. We're really trying to take the time to look at what solutions are available to us and see what we can gain the most from and explore really implementing those kinds of solutions and not filling our bag up with a bunch of resources that end up getting underutilized. When we push something out, we really want it to be worth the investment. So we want it to be something that everybody's going to get excited about and everybody's going to want to use. To me, I think sometimes a little less is more.
What advice would you give a lender who's maybe struggling to get its team on board with the new process or a new tool that the company has introduced and invested in? Is there a pattern for successful adoption, you think?
I think there's absolutely a pattern for successful adoption. What we have to remember is our customers don't speak mortgage. Some of them may have gone through the home buying experience before. Some of them may have gone through the home buying experience several times, but they still don't necessarily live in our world and they don't speak the language that we speak. And even though they may have experience in the past, stuff's constantly changing in this business. And so in order for our customers to really grasp on to the technology and the resources that we're trying to put in front of them and tell them it's going to make the process easier for them, we have to be bought in first. If they're not pushing it out to the customer in a way that makes it sound exciting and easier for the customer, if it's just a quick email that says, here, do this, your customers aren't going to be nearly as engaged. And a lot of times that first little snag they hit, they're going to say, I'm not doing this. If we make sure our borrowers understand that this is actually a more safe and secure way for you to transmit your information to me, this is going to cause me to have to come back to you much less for additional documentation. It's going to make your process easier. But you're not going to get that customer buy-in if you don't get the buy-in from your employees first.
I couldn't say it better myself. 100% agree with that. Now, Kristy, I know you're a busy woman, so I'll just give you one last question. Now, you've obviously been very successful in pursuing your career in the mortgage industry. But as you said earlier, you don't know how many kids grow up wishing and dreaming to be in the mortgage business. And so you pursued a different thing first. If you weren't doing this now, What other profession would you like to take a stab at?
That I put a lot of thought into this because that's a tough question. I think in order to be successful about with anything, you have to be passionate about what you do. And while this may not have been my dream growing up, I'm very passionate today about what I do and who I do it for. So I love what I do. But if I weren't doing mortgages, I think that I would probably pursue something towards criminal investigation, which is totally different direction. But there are days within my daily routine as a mortgage professional that I do feel like a CSI.
That's awesome. Detective Kristy is what we'll call you.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, thanks so much, Kristy. As always, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. We'll go ahead and wrap it there. We appreciate you joining us. It's been great having you on Direct Source Discourse today. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.